Okay folks, so quick amendum, I think that's the right word, addendum, amendum. Anyway, a quick amendum, I think that's the right word, to the video you're about to see. I'm going to put them together, I might as well, rather than two separate videos. Although it will take a lot longer to upload that way, especially after I've edited them. No, actually, strike that. Actually, I think maybe I'll just put them up separately, I guess. Anyway, so the electrician dude has been. So Stuart's, hang on. So the shower dude. Right. So apparently the guy, the plumber fella. He took a picture of this because he thought it was really funny. So he took a picture with his phone with that. So the shower dudes, as I call them, shower dudes, I love it. Please knock on the window. So anyway, he came and it's all wired up, and I now have my nice new shower. In fact, actually, let me just turn the pump on because otherwise the water collects in the thing, so I've got to turn the pump back on. I keep forgetting, I've got to turn the pump on first. Sorry, right. So on goes the pump. Brand new pump as well, which is cool. Makes a freaking noise. Like I say, it is a bit of a racket, but hey ho, I don't really care about that because at the end of the day, I got my nice new shower, look. Watch, now, see obviously it's on, so then I just press that. Yay, look! Ha-ha! And it's got different things on it, look. See, watch, I'll just take that off there. Right? So you can sort of have it like that. Or you can turn it to that one, or you can turn it to a sort of softer one. You see? And you've also got like high pressure, low pressure. So you can have it on either sort of setting. So there it is, there's my lovely shower. Oh god, it's such a relief to have my shower back. Oh man. And obviously you can turn up the temperature to whichever temperature you want it at. So then you just press, oh it's that one isn't it, yeah, to stop it. And then the shower will stop, eventually. Of course the pump, like I say, that's been on a separate thing anyway, so that will continue just to pump the water out, and that's all cool. But oh man, it's so good to have my shower back. Oh, and as soon as I finish making this video, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm jumping into the shower to have a shower. Oh man, because normally you see, the thing with me is, right, hang on, let's get out of the noisy bathroom with the pump, because it is rather noisy. So, right, yeah, sorry, I was just checking the switch. Right, so let's just turn the pump off. Turn that old noisy thing off. Right, yes, so obviously, like I say, the first thing I'm going to do after I've uploaded these videos, or whilst they're uploading even, is I'm going to jump in the shower, man. Oh god, it's going to be great. Oh man, it's, you know, that's the other thing. It's like, you know, it's amazing when you have, you know, the simple little things that you take for granted in your life. You know what I mean? It's little things like that you just, you know, and ultimately after a month or two, obviously I'll kind of forget all about this and you know, be taking the shower for granted again. But that's human beings for us, you know what I mean? We do, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just, that's, you know, because you can't keep constantly appreciating stuff all the time, do you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously, you know, it's important to do that as well, but, you know, we're human beings at the end of the day, you know, you just get on with it, don't you? You know what I mean? You just do your thing. You need to do whatever you need to do. You know what I mean? It's not like you can constantly walk into the shower and go, oh, I'm so grateful to have this shower. You know, because sometimes you're busy doing other things and, you know, you just need to do your shower, get out, do whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sure there'll be a point at some point where I'll be kind of like a bit blasé about my shower again, I'm sure. Just hope it doesn't then pack up again. But it's moments like this when you think to yourself, wow, do you know what I mean? When you haven't got something as simple as that, do you know what I mean? Just to be able to stay clean. and how it impacts on your mental well-being as well. It's amazing. Do you know what I mean? You know, and then that brings me back to when you think about homeless people, and you see a homeless person on the street or whatever. See, the thing is, you don't, and I don't even think the homeless person themselves, because when I think about my own experiences, there may have been moments here and there when I thought about how dirty I was and how smelly I must be or whatever sort of thing. But again, for the most part, you're just trying to survive, and you're just doing whatever you're doing sort of thing, so you don't always necessarily care or even really think about it that much. But there'll be moments, there will be times here and there where, you know, certain situations present themselves where, you know, it becomes obvious to, even to yourself sort of thing. But regardless of that, the thing is that the impact that it has on you in terms of not being able to keep yourself clean, do you know what I mean? It seems like such a fundamental, very simple little thing in a way, but the impact psychologically that can have on you, do you know what I mean? It is quite a powerful thing when you think about it, and that's part of the reason why you start feeling dehumanized as well. Not necessarily just by society or whatever, but by your own, the way you feel about yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is that you, like I say, you start to, you know, because you don't look after yourself, you don't, because obviously, you know, there are, these days, it's a lot easier, well, I'll say a lot easier, I mean, it's, in some ways, it, you know, it can be, you know, especially in a city like London, there are some facilities about where, you know, you can get washed and get clean clothes and whatever sort of thing, but these things are not easily accessible, they're not something you can just, you know what I mean? Anyway, so for the most part, a lot of homeless people will be unclean and smelly and blah 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 blah, but like I said, the impact that has, do you know what I mean, on their mental well-being, you know, and how they view themselves and how they look at themselves. And like I say, I know this is going off on a tangent maybe, but it's, you know, like I say, it really makes me think and really makes me appreciate the fact that, you know, I've now got my shower back, and now I can keep myself clean, and you know how much better you feel when you do get yourself clean, when you wash and you know, clean clothes and stuff like that. These seem like such mundane, fundamental things to the average person out there, that, you know, like I say, we take them for granted. And don't get me wrong, I'll end up doing the same at some point, like I said. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, or, you know, that people are bad for doing that or whatever sort of thing. That's just human beings. We have to get on with whatever we need to get on with. But, you know, like I say, I guess it's just moments like this I think to myself, wow, do you know what I mean? It's like, because I know how it's been making me feel over this last month or so, not being able to have a shower. You know, for me, having a shower is one of the, for me, I don't know, it's, anyway, rather than just keep waffling on, blah 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 blah, I was trying to say, I just remembered what I was trying to say, and then I went into this big long spiel about that, didn't I? What I was trying to say is that normally I'm a sort of morning shower person. Now some people like to have a shower in the evening, before they go to bed. Personally, I don't see the point in that, to be quite honest, because the thing is that you're going to sweat, or you're going to, what's saying, overnight sort of thing. I don't quite get why you would want to have a shower. I mean, maybe if you want to help you to relax and go to sleep in the, or whatever, yeah, I can see it from that point of view. But in terms of, like, if you're just trying to keep yourself clean, or, do you know what I mean, you've got to go to work in the morning or whatever, to me, it makes much more sense to have a shower in the morning, especially if I'm going to work or whatever, but not even that necessarily, or if I'm just going out somewhere or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It makes much more sense to have the shower in the morning, so you're nice and fresh and clean and so on and blah, blah, blah. So normally I would be having my shower in the morning, so I was kind of debating, do I have my shower now, because I've missed it for so long, and you know, I do still, even though I'm relatively clean at the moment, although not maybe completely, but you know, part of me is like, let's go and have a shower. And I think I will, actually. Right, okay. So I just wanted to update you. I know this is a bit of a long-winded video, and I guess what it is also because I haven't been doing my videos for, do you know what I mean? And I'm not getting out and about, and I do love making my videos, and I want to make more interesting videos for you guys. I don't want to just be constantly stuck in the house and all the rest of it sort of thing, and Oh yeah, look. By the way, my my label tree project has kind of ground to a bit of a halt because the arms fell off. Well, oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure I'll get round to fixing that. But sadly, like I said, it was. Oh, anyway, never mind. I'll sort it out. I'll get round to it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So, like I said, nice new shower. Fantastic. Really happy. Really chuffed. I'll turn it off for now. It's just, I'm really over the moon. I'm really, really happy. So happy to have my shower back. Right, okay. There was one other thing. Oh, yes, actually. Now, there's one other thing that I just wanted to mention, because I spoke to somebody, a friend of mine, who's a chap called Matt Bruce, anyway. And it was over this. It wasn't this one, was it? No, it's not that one. Sorry, hang on. Oops. Hey, what the heck? What's going on here? Right. Sorry. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I think it's this one. Right. Yeah. Right. So I got this email. Oh, great. Now the sun's shining, making everything sort of flipping. What's name? Thank you. Right. Anyway, so she sent this email, yeah. And when I read it, I must admit, I felt a little bit insulted by it. This isn't directly to me. This is more directed towards any of the any of the deliverers of the cuff training that I do. So it's not personally directed to me as such, but it's directed to all the people that, I don't know how many trainers Slam actually has. But anyway, again, it probably sounds a little bit, so you're thinking like, what the heck are you talking about? So, try to cut a long story short, basically, Slam, as always, are behind the times. I'm so used to working with people who are so progressive, forward thinking in terms of mental health and service user involvement and all the rest of it sort of thing, that Slam are so behind the times. This is why I've arranged a meeting with this lady called Sharon. I've arranged a meeting with her, so basically I just have a little chat and say like, look, you know, I think maybe you need to perhaps but then again, see, I don't know, and that's why I need to meet her. I need to talk to her, because I don't know exactly what her thinking is behind this email or whatever, and there may be other factors involved that I'm not aware of. So, but anyway, the whole tone of the email has, and I don't necessarily believe that she intended it that way, because I don't think she's necessarily like arrogant in the fact that perhaps she thinks that people with lived experience, I don't know. See, this is why it's difficult to talk about it, because I'm not going to put sort of like, you know, project my views of the way she may or may not view people with lived experience. Obviously, I need to meet the lady, need to find out a bit about her, and so on and so on. So before I prejudge or whatever, although I must admit I am prejudging, but before I really do that to any great extent, I need to have a chat with her and just try and suss out, you know, because like I said, for me, it's the tone of the whole email, sort of, it comes across almost as slightly patronising and slightly sort of like, oh well, you're only service users, so, you know, we'll treat you in a certain way, like, not necessarily, you know, what's it, but anyway, I guess, like I said, I don't know if you guys are reading any of this. I might put a screenshot in with this, I don't know, because I feel a little bit, until I've spoken to the lady, I feel a little bit, about making the comments that I'm making necessarily, because I think maybe I'm being a bit unfair, and some other people might read that and think, oh, it's perfectly fine, you know what I mean? But I guess it's because of where I'm coming from. I'm coming from, like I said, a place where I'm so used to working with people that are much more progressive in their thinking, much more forward thinking, much more with the latest sort of ideas and ways of working with people with lived experience, rather than the sort of like... I used to have a phrase when I first started working for Slam. I used to deliver the cuff training for Slam. They're the ones that essentially got me onto this, and I got trained up by Emergence, but I didn't work for Emergence at that point. I was working for Slam. Well, I say working in inverted commas. You know, it was supposed to be voluntary initially, and then we were supposed to get paid, but not a heck of a lot. Anyway, again, the point is that you know, initially I was working with Slam, and it was yeah, sorry, that's what I was trying. What it was is that like I say, when I first started delivering the training for Slam, it felt very much like at first that I didn't want to be treated like, and I coined a phrase that I used to try to define what I was, or try to express what I was trying to say to these people, was I don't want to be the John Merrick sort of syndrome. You know what I mean? I don't want the John Merrick syndrome. I don't know if people are aware of who John Merrick was. John Merrick was a guy, I forget the name of the disease that he had. I honestly can't remember what it's called now. But they made a film of it called The Elephant Man. I don't know if people remember that film or know anything about John Merrick and all the rest. Anyway, again, trying to cut long story short, even though he was well treated, this is back in like the 18th century or something, I think, 18th, 19th century. Even though eventually, at one point in his life, this doctor who took him in, he was treated really well and blah 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 blah, but he was still in some ways used as a... how do I explain it? He was put in front of the medical people at the time as like a display, as a like a... Do you know what I mean? And he was poked and prodded and blah 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 blah. And so he was rolled out as an example of, and this is the kind of what's the name that can happen, or whatever they... I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea exactly what they said in these. Well, I don't even know what you call it. But anyway, the gist of it is that, you know, even though he had a reasonably better life than his early on time when he was in a freak show and all this sort of carry on and da da da, that in some ways he was still treated in a way that, like, you know, we're the doctors, we're superior, and here's an example of this, and this is how we now treat this person. You know, it kind of rolled out like a guinea pig or something. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I coined this phrase, like I said, and I was saying to these people, look, you know, don't treat us as though like we're some sort of exhibit, or we're some sort of like, here's one we made earlier sort of thing. You know, roll them out and sort of, you know, that pat on the head, or, you know, poor little person sort of thing, or whatever. You know, that sort of like condescending sort of sense of being, you know, that patronising, what's the name, like. And so basically that's what I said, you know, don't treat us in that way. And that's what I'm reading there in that email, can harks back to those early times in Slam. Do you know what I mean? For me, it does anyway. I mean, I don't know about other people, but for me, when I read that, considering the people I worked with over the last few years since I worked for Slam, things have moved on in leaps and bounds. They really have. Now, that's not to say that, like, there's still discrimination, there's still other stuff that goes on, there's still a lot of ignorance and all the rest of it, and this, that, and blah, blah, blah. But it's a flipping heck lot better compared to what it was. And a lot of these professionals now are taking on board people like myself with lived experience and validating them in their own right, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know. It's kind of got under my skin a little bit, that email. And so, anyway, so now obviously I'm ended up making a video about it, which, again, wasn't necessarily intentional, but I just kind of wanted to mention it to you guys, because like I said, I'm going to meet this lady on Friday, go back to the hospital there, where I was a patient for a good 2 years, about 7 years ago now. No, longer than that. Nearly 9 years ago now. No, actually, it's even long. No, yeah, about nine years ago. And so, yeah, like I said, I'll pop back there, and it's only up the road. It's not far from here. And I'll go and have a little chat with her and see how the land lies. Because ultimately, again, like I said in the other video about cutting my nose off to spite my own face, when I first read it, I must admit, I was highly insulted by it, to be perfectly honest with you. And I was thinking like, oh, you're going to pay us 80 quid or whatever it was, whereas the new organisation that's came out of Emergence, which is called Evolve, their idea is now to pay us or ex-service users, service user, whatever, people with lived experience, £200 a day, whereas Slam are offering £80 a day. Do you know what I mean? And you know, and it's not just about the money. It's just this sense of being undervalued. And again, I'm not necessarily saying because she won't have anything to do with the amount of money we're being paid. That won't be up to her. But it's indicative of Slam, and it's indicative of the NHS in general. I think or at least certain parts of it anyway. That there's still this idea that somehow we are the John Merricks of the psychiatric world or whatever. We're like, here's one we rolled out earlier, like, you know what I mean? Look how clever we are, what we can do, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Instead of treating us on an equal footing, which we've been asking for a long time anyway. Do you know what I mean? Treat us as equals. Plain and simple. We don't want preferential treatment or special treatment. We want to be treated as equals. Plain and simple. Do you know what I mean? So value us the way you value your own staff. Well, mind you, depends on how they value their own staff, I suppose. But anyway, the point is that, like I said, for me, I felt quite insulted by it. I thought like, oh, you're going to offer me £80, and that's the other thing as well. They're only offering, I think they said, is it six cohorts a year? I think they said 6 cohorts a year. A cohort is 3 days. Yeah. And actually, wait a minute. Sorry, let me just double check this for a second. Make sure I've got my facts straight here. Sorry, just bear with me. What we right? Oh no, sorry, no, not 6, 3. So they think it's the way the thing's worded. The whole thing. I'm sorry, it's just. It feels like I've stepped back in time or something. You know, the whole tone of it sounds like as though they've done something amazing and marvellous. Do you know what I mean? You know, I was delivering the cuff training almost on a daily basis. Never mind 3 cohorts a year. Do you know what I mean? At £80 a go. Do you know what I mean? At £80 every day, you know, for 3 days, £80. Yeah, I know that's a nice chunk of money one way or another sort of thing compared to what I'm getting and all the rest of it and this, that and the other. But, anyway, sorry, I'm you know, like I said, I just think it's a little bit, anyway, like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little chat with this lady and just try to hopefully enlighten her a little bit, perhaps. You know, I mean, you know, initially, yes, I was offended and felt insulted and so on, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not taking it personal in the sense of like, I'm going to go down there and give her a piece of my mind, blah, blah, blah. No. You know, I just think maybe she just isn't aware and she's not, you know, it's like Cenk Uygur always says about people in their own little bubbles. When you're in your own little bubble and you don't see outside of that bubble and you don't experience other people's experiences or know about other people's experiences, then that's the only point of view you have. So, you know, go down there and have a little chat with her from that perspective, you know what I mean? To try and say like, well, do you know actually, do you know some of the other kind of work that's happening now? And, you know, have you heard of PyLink? And, you know, put her in touch with PyLink and all the rest of it. And, you know, and show her some of the progressive stuff that's happening out there. And, you know, maybe she'll think, wow, flipping heck, I didn't know that. Right, oh, well, that's interesting, I'll look into that. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, anyway, right. I think I've waffled on way too long. And, Yeah, I'm sorry if these are not my usual sort of like out and about videos and oh look at this thing and isn't that interesting, and I know it's just me waffling on, and you may or may not find any of this interesting, and considering how long the video is now, but I hope you still enjoy it. I hope that you get something from it, and yep, hopefully within the next week or so, definitely be going somewhere interesting. Okay, so I'm going to catch you guys later. Please subscribe, and like I say, there are there are more interesting videos on my channel that you can watch other than just me waffling on, although it's most of me waffling on. Right, okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys, before I just keep on waffling and never stop. So I'll say goodbye for now, guys, and see you soon. Bye for now.